What's up, y'all? It's CP, and today we're going to be making a parol. A parol is a very traditional Christmas decoration that you see everywhere in the Philippines. Like, it's hanging around houses, and there's just like so many different variations of them, so different sizes, many different styles. This was the very first one I made. I used cellophane, and cellophane is super pretty, but I'll say it's super difficult to work with. When I did the tissue, it was so much easier to put the glue on. And in the Philippines, they have stuff that it kind of looks like, kind of resembles like shells. And so it's kind of like, it's not super transparent, but it is translucent enough where you could see lights, and there's a ton of different lights. And I actually saw this video from Disney where they actually taught you, it was like Disney Junior or something, I'll put a video here, on how to make this. And so I was like, I love it, I've never done it. Turns out in the Philippines, like I showed this to like my auntie and my dad, and they were like, yeah, when we were in school we used to make this for like projects around Christmas time. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And so I was very happy to be able to do this project. Being born here in the US, I really had to learn a lot about my culture on my own. I'm growing up going through school, and now the glory of YouTube. And so I wanted to share what I've learned and some tips and tricks on how to successfully make this, because this is actually pretty difficult. The YouTube video, you know, they obviously like cut it and slice it, so it's like it gives you like the top level instructions. But I was like, wait, this is kind of hard, and like, where do I even get this material? So these sticks, check like Michael's, and they didn't really have it like for this size and like thickness I needed. And so we found this on Amazon, and this came in like a 100 pack. I'll link it below. This is sort of what we'll use for the dowel. Well, I guess they make them in like shorter sizes, but I can't really like find them. So luckily I actually live like right near a Dollar Tree, and they had this for $1, and like this came in a 10 pack. So it's really nice, but I had to ask Jason to help like cut it down. And so some of the dowel pieces I have, I'll show later. They're not even, but I found it still works, and so don't let that discourage you. If you want to pay extra for some of the shorter dowels, maybe go do so. But if you're on a budget and you want to try out this project, you get this at the dollar store, because these sticks right here are a little bit more expensive. So if you want to put down money on anything, it's this. You'll need a glue stick, some rubber bands, which I got the hair rubber bands. I couldn't really find any rubber bands at the dollar store, so I just went and bought some of these. It works the same, works perfectly great actually. Tissue, and a hot glue gun. This is technically a low temp glue gun. If you want to be fancy, you could add lights. So like this one has like one of these kind of lights. It's a color changing light that I got from the dollar store also. You can also put like twinkle lights, like, you know, like the string lights inside. It would look really nice and like sort of like the cellophane one. What you're going to need is 10 of these sticks. This I think is the most funnest part, easiest and funnest part. So what you're going to do is first is you're going to sort of make 2 sticks go together like this, and then you're just going to go and rubber band the top. So just go around 4 or 5 times, and you're going to do that. So there's the second pair. So then you're going to take your 2, and then what you're going to want to do is turn one of them to the side, and want to have one like up like this, and then you're going to want to sort of thread it, so you sort of see how I'm going over, and it's going to go like that. So it's going to make like a cross, like a start part of your star. So you want your sticks to sort of overlap, sort of goes like over under, over under, over under. Take this and then turn it slightly like this, so you see these 4 open pieces. You're gonna take one stick, you're gonna thread it through again so it follows the same over under pattern. You're gonna take your stick, stick it through the middle and over this stick right here. You're gonna attach the top piece, the rubber band. So you're just going to adjust it so that these 2 touch, and you rubber band that. Okay, and then turn it one more time, and then you're just going to adjust it so that these tops of these sticks touch, and then you rubber band that. And voila, you have your first star. So then you're going to go take this and repeat the process. Here is your second star. And if you just want to get them aligned, just take the 2 stars, and then you're going to just sort of move the sticks around until they are about even and like have a really nice star shape. So if you start seeing like some isosceles triangles, to adjust that, some obtuse angles, you don't want that. Alright, there we go. Pretty good looking star. have your dowels ready, so you're gonna need 5. 2 of them are shorter than the other 3, but it'll make do. It'll be fine. Take your hot glue gun. You're gonna hot glue gun this corner, this, and this. And then when you do that, you're gonna stick your dowels on top. So now that those are on, so if you see here, that's the side view, you sort of see the dowel sticking out. Then we're going to add glue on top. Stick your star right on top of there. Okay, so the parts that I said, if it's like a little shorter, that's where you're going to want to apply a little pressure to get your top star to stick downwards, to stick onto it. So that's why I said it's not really an issue. You just have to manipulate the star a little bit to work. These 4 are holding, so I'm just going to go back in and re-glue that top one across. Then you could just take your hot glue gun to reinforce the dowels as needed. Oops. Hot glue never hurt nobody, and it's not gonna look the prettiest, but it gets the job done. Yeah. And no one's gonna see that anyways once you start covering it with tissue paper. So this one has like really nice glitter on it. I think it's really pretty. Before I start with that, I'm going to take my rubber bands and go through and pinch the tops of the stars, so it's like this, and pinch them close together so they create this sort of arc. Now that I have my sides rubber band together, next I'm going to take my tissue paper. Oh, there's rubber bands flying everywhere. I wish I knew an easier way to do this. This is where I was saying, like, the Disney one didn't really tell you the shapes and stuff. But I found that if I go through and you see like how tissue paper when you buy it, there's usually like a fold. I'll trim one rectangle fold to just get a general idea of the sizes you'll need. If you like lay your tissue paper over 4 inches, and then just go ahead and make those pleats and then cut those out. Now, of course, this is using the sticks I have. It's all dependent on the size of your sticks. You could always just adjust your paper size accordingly. The method I was doing, I just lay it on top of the star, get a rough feel for how much is needed to cover, and then make your cutouts that way. Set them aside, and then you're gonna take your star, and take your glue, you're gonna rub down the sides of the triangle. So a lot, you're gonna put a lot of glue. Of course, this dollar store one, so probably doesn't work as well as like Elmer's glue, but I figured if you're gonna get this from the dollar store, you gotta use up a lot of glue. Get it real rubbed in there. And add your triangle piece. Want it to cover the bottom and the tops of the triangles. Okay. You could go through and trim. I figured you just get the same steps out of the way. It's faster. A little bit more efficient. So you want to adjust the tissue so that make sure it covers all of the stick. So when you place it, you could just tug it a little bit to make sure that you can still pull it. If it's too short, you always pull it towards the end, because we're going to be putting a piece of paper here in the middle, but that's towards the end, so just another tip there. So now that I have all of my tissue applied, I'm just going to go through, sort of trim the edges off. A little bit of the sides so you get the little cleaner cut. It's still super rigidy, don't worry about that. It'll help when you put the sides on later. Then you repeat the process on the back side. Be careful you don't poke a hole in the tissue. The tissue paper is super thin, so just keep that in mind when you're cutting and trying to hold your star. Unfortunately, this is the hardest part that's about to come in, so don't worry, we will do it. And we're going to need another piece of tissue paper. What we're going to do is just cut, same process, down the centers. So what I got here is a cup. I figured easy way to just stick your star inside of the cup while you work on your edges. When I was working with cellophane, that was the hardest because like the glue I was working with wasn't that great, so like the cellophane kept kind of sliding off. But that's why I don't want to recommend using cellophane if this is your first time doing it. Get a handle with it with tissue, and then maybe move on to cellophane. This, we're gonna wanna try to make the lines all straight when you cut. You'll be able to trim it, but you know, if you want it to be a little nicer, try to get your edges straight. I'm going to take my glue stick and we're going to rub the front of the star right on that wooden piece, then to the back of the star. I'm going to take our piece of paper, align your paper with the stick, fold it over and reach to the front. I'll just go ahead and flip my star in my cup. And you're gonna put on every open side. Don't pull too much too when you're applying the tissue paper. You want it to be a little loose because the tissue paper is super sensitive. If it is super stretched out, if you try to like really get a nice crease, you'll most likely rip your paper. So when applying your tissue, just lightly attach it to the wooden sticks and the glue. Before you start your opposite side, go through and trim those extra trimmings. What's really easy is if you sort of follow a straight line that matches the piece of the wood. So you could also bend the paper and then try to trim that line off. Or even if you're into the brown more, it's totally okay. Now you're gonna have to put on the other side. You know how you, on this side, this is where you glued it and then you folded it over? Do it on the same side, so that'll be your front of your star. So you aren't having all these like, because especially if you trim and it's not that great, you could at least make this the back side of your star. It's not always gonna be perfect. And especially if you try this for the first time, don't let that stop you from doing this. Just, you know, fake it as you go.
It's like a smile, smiling my favorite. Make work your favorite, that's your favorite. Okay. Work is your new favorite. Fine.
So now that all your sides are trimmed, you're gonna want to go back in and sort of trim on some of these inside pieces. There'll be like parts overlapping. So carefully trim those down. You don't want to expose too much of the inside of the star. It'll like overlap and that's okay, or sometimes it'll fold in on itself, that's fine. But if it's like glaringly sticking out like it's not supposed to, like this piece right here, just trim that off. Figure out what side you like the best, because that'll be your front side. So take a look at some of your cuts. So this one looks pretty straight. Actually, I might do that one. You want to cover this middle piece with a square piece of paper and try to get the best coverage. Take your glue and glue the insides of your sticks so that all the bottom bases of the triangles. Yeah, you can also, like, if there's little pieces sticking out, just take glue, rub it in. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and I'm going to attach it to the front. You just gotta trim off those remaining pieces. Same method, so fold it back. Trim off these sides real quick. So you could usually close off this back side if you aren't going to add any lights. But usually this is just where you throw in your lights, and you'll want the on and off switch to be accessible, so then you can have your star, your pearl. If you want, you can stop at this step. This is a perfectly cute pearl. But what I'm going to do is first I'm going to show you how to add a little top thing so you can hang it. So what I have is pipe cleaner. It's a really nice sparkly one. I also got at the dollar store. You can take it, roll it up, and you're going to need your hot glue gun again. On the back side, I'm just going to glue the pipe cleaner to the top, lay some on the star, reinforce it with some more. Okay, you might need to press it a little bit, which is what I just did, to really get it stuck onto there. This is a really simple pearl that you can make using tissue paper, and we're able to hang it. Next, what I'm going to do is add tails to these, and so let's go ahead and make it a little fancier. 2 pieces of paper, and then I'm going to just use one at a time. I'll fold it in half, half again, fold it again in half, take this piece and just sort of fold it like that. So it makes this little shape right here, and I'm going to make little slits and make sure you don't cut all the way through to the back. Make them a little longer as you go down the line. Make sure you don't cut all the way through. So I made about 4 slits there. What I'm going to do is open up the tissue paper, and in the very center, I'm going to poke a hole using the pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to pull it about 75% of the way and make a knot so it doesn't slip through to the other side. Got your little tail. And we're going to make the second one. And they're going to go to the bottom part of your star here. So I'm going to take it at the very top, very top where the rubber bands are, slide that through with, and then poke it to the other side. I'm going to make another little tie with the little pipe cleaner. Then I'm going to trim the pipe cleaner off. And then you repeat on the other side. Careful you don't pull too much so you don't pierce all the way through. Now your pearl has a little tail. Yay! It's so pretty. So this will not be built too long. I might trim it down for my specific pearl, but it has little fashionable tail now. I'm just gonna trim the little bottom piece off. Honestly, it could have been long too. It's just been more fabulous. But there's my pearl. I hope everyone has a very wonderful Christmas or holidays, whatever you decide to spend. I hope you get a chance to make this pearl, spend time with your family. This is a great arts and craft opportunity if you want to hang out with your family. Maybe make this during Christmas Eve, and you know, get the whole family involved in making decorations for next year. Until then, I'll see you all soon.